Trump has just fired the starting gun for the parabolic phase of the bull market. In this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly what he's going to do later today and why this is so extremely important and could cause a lot of funds to flow into the crypto market. In addition, we'll take a look at some Bitcoin analysis, some Ethereum analysis, interest rate decisions, important articles. In short, a complete market update. So if you like it, go ahead and hit that like button, even if you're watching from your beach chair somewhere. If you're watching, just click the like button and leave a comment. Let me know if this camera placement is okay. For me, it's more comfortable just above my screen instead of to the right of it. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Corne. I do everything related to crypto, so if you don't want to miss videos like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel. It's completely free for you. So let's start with Trump and what he's done. He has just signed, or will sign this afternoon, an executive order allowing other types of investments to be used in retirement accounts. That includes real estate, but also crypto. And that's huge because suddenly pension investors and the people who advise them are allowed to give advice and make use of crypto. So why is this such a big deal? This means tax-deferred or tax-free crypto trading. So soon, most people will be able to trade crypto tax-free through their retirement accounts. Access to alternative assets that were previously outside of pensions, Bitcoin, and probably just regular altcoins as well. A pathway for trillions in pension capital to flow into the crypto market. That's huge. The amounts involved, especially in America, a massive win for financial freedom and self-directed investing. Up until now, the average American couldn't touch Bitcoin or altcoins in a 401k, so a retirement account. Soon, possibly this year, they may be able to trade like a Degen tax-free for decades. This isn't just policy, it's a paradigm shift. It's truly significant that this is happening now. Additionally, the biggest trade reset was the China trade shock, says Besant. Micron is going to put in 200 billion, says Besant, and the trade deals are largely done. So soon, no more trade deal tariff nonsense. That's just over. Which is, of course, good and positive for the market. Furthermore, whales have made significant purchases. 120,000 bitcoins were bought between $112,000 and $116,000. That's obviously bullish. You can see the price rising now. Additionally, the Bank of England. They have implemented an interest rate cut of 25 basis points to 4%, and now there is a 91% expectation that another 25 basis point rate cut will come on September 17th. Of course, that's extremely bullish, but the question remains about the rumors. You often see the same news when the entire market is now expecting a rate cut. In September, you often see prices rise sharply leading up to the rate cut because it's being priced into the market, and then once the rate is actually cut, you see a bit of a cool down period afterward because it was already priced in. So that's definitely possible. So does that mean you should position yourself accordingly? Do you want to trade on BLOFIN now? I've included BLOFIN and YX in the description. Both are really great exchanges where you can get high bonuses. At BLOFIN, we've now arranged a really nice deposit promotion. That $600 is very easy to get. For example, if you deposit 5K and trade 5 million in volume, you get a $600 futures bonus. That's a nice extra, right? In addition, let's look at a bit of analysis here. Bitcoin is extremely bullish. We've talked about it. We can see the 20 and 50 exponential moving averages on the daily chart. What we said yesterday is that if we get a bounce between them, my internet is bad, so you can't see those drawings coming up right now. They'll probably show up later. But if we get a bounce between those two EMAs and break out from there, that's extremely bullish. Of course, we also have horizontal resistance running here. You can't really see that either, unfortunately. Let me reload because this isn't working. All day long, this internet is telling me I just need to take it easy because it's not working like this. I was already wondering or doubting whether I should even make a video because it's really getting on my nerves. In the end, I decided to do it anyway, and now the internet is acting up. It just keeps going like this. It's like somewhere, secretly, someone's telling me, Corne, just take it easy for a bit. If you don't feel like it today, then don't do it. But still, I had to do it. Otherwise, I just feel bad about it again. I really want to share a video with you, do a market update, especially when the market is doing so well. Most of you really want an update. But it's pretty annoying at the moment. But what we said is that if we get a bounce from here and break that 20 exponential moving average, it's at least bullish. We had looked at that 15.8 as an important level to break. Why that 15.8? That was where this exponential moving average was. And of course, you also have a very important, significant horizontal support level here that absolutely needed to be broken through. That's right in between here. Well, you can clearly see that we're effectively breaking through it quite nicely here. The best scenario is if we close the 4-hour candle above this level. It will close in 4 minutes. You'll see the video tonight. That would be very bullish at the very least. On the 1-hour chart, it's perfectly fine to see a small pullback so that we come back down, do a retest, and then get a bounce, turning that 20 exponential moving average into support. And of course, also that horizontal support, because then the path to that $120,000 here is wide open. So what's at that $120,000 level? We've discussed that in previous videos. In that $120,000 range and just above it, there's a lot of liquidity. All stop losses, all liquidation levels from people who are trading. When those get triggered, all those positions get stopped out, the liquidity is collected, and that will likely push the price further up, probably towards your previous all-time high. And then you'll quickly see a new all-time high. But first, of course, we need to break through that $120,000 for Bitcoin. If we then look at Ethereum, we also see that Ethereum is on its way to that $4,000 mark, the level everyone has been waiting for. In other words, the local highs from 2024 that could be broken in the coming period. So what have we seen here and what do we have? What kind of price action are we seeing today? What we see is that we've at least broken out of that downward trend here. That's always bullish, and I like to act on that. But now you can see that the local highs here will probably act as resistance. You can see that we're reaching that point now. You'll probably notice that we're seeing some resistance here. If we break through that, we'll quickly reach $4,000. And if you zoom out, you'll see that $4,000 will provide a lot of local resistance. So if we get past that, then the path is open to $4,800. In other words, the previous all-time high. There are now price predictions coming out from major institutions who expect that Ethereum will hit somewhere around $16,000 in this bull market. In my opinion, that's actually quite a good target, especially when you see which companies, institutions, and so on are all buying Ethereum right now. I think this could become something big. Hey, and it's simply a matter of testing the local highs here that we've seen in 2024. The peak that we saw in May 2024 and in March 2024, the more often such a level is tested, the weaker it becomes. And the expectation is, with the buying pressure that Ethereum is seeing these days, the ETFs are also doing better now. The Ethereum ETF is moving faster than the Bitcoin ETF. You saw 73 million in inflows the day before yesterday and 35 million yesterday. And if you look at, for example, the Bitcoin ETF flows, you'll see that yesterday there was an inflow of 91, but in the days before that, there were significant outflows. Ethereum is still being traded more at the moment than Bitcoin, and that looks extremely bullish. If we look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, you can see that Ethereum is now trying to break out against Bitcoin. In other words, Ethereum is likely to outperform Bitcoin in the coming period. Bullish for Ethereum, bullish for altcoins. Speaking of altcoins, they're doing exactly what we said back then. What we explained is that there's resistance around this point. You'll probably see a rejection there, and if we then start consolidating below that, right, so we don't get a sharp rejection all the way back to the bottom here, but instead start consolidating, then a breakout is something we're going to see soon. Well, what you've seen is that we're making a nice bull flag right here. We're consolidating below the main resistance. In other words, the breakout point will be somewhere soon around 1.3 trillion. And that would be an all-time high in terms of total crypto market cap for altcoins. In other words, things are looking good for Bitcoin, things are looking good for Ethereum, and therefore for altcoins as well. That was my update. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, please give the video a like, share with friends and family. See you in the next one. Adios.